The Pixar Cars franchise is something that I like to occasionally reference every now and then to people familiar with my channel, and it's because it means so much to me and was a big part of my childhood. Very cliche, I know, but it is indeed very true as well. I love Lightning McQueen more than I love my own family, and apparently so did a lot of other people because there's a bazillion things of merchandise still around this damn franchise. That of course includes what I'll be talking about today. Again. Yeah, about a year ago, I talked about Cars the video game, a tie-in game that released shortly after the movie did, and it succeeded both critically and financially. I'd put it with the greats, like SpongeBob, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and like, what, Ratatouille? That doesn't matter though, because we all know how greedy corporations and up-and-coming YouTubers are. They just love cranking out sequels. So before Cars 2, you know, the real canonical sequel to the first movie even came out, the original Cars tie-in game got 2 whole-ass sequels. Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about Cars Mater National Championship and Cars Race-O-Rama. One game I own the GBA version of, and it's absolute dog shit. And the other I own the Wii version of. You know, for the sake of consistency, I should probably, there you go. Play the console version of Mater National. You look far less crusty now, don't you? Anyway, for anyone that's new here, I always appreciate likes and subs, as I'm a very small channel. Anyway, let's move on before I get disgusted at my own shelling. Let's review the Cars game's wacky tie-in sequels, Cars Mater National Championship and Cars Race-O-Rama. Now, I will be completely honest with everyone here, just like before, I am very biased towards Race-O-Rama in particular due to my very strong childhood nostalgia with it. Mater National and GBA isn't exactly a good game or anything, so my bias for the console version is non-existent. The first time I played it was about a year or so ago, I think. I will try my best to judge these silly little games accordingly, because I'm just based like that. Cars Mater National Championship came out in 2007 and everyone was like, what? It's honestly a pretty good game though. It does have a lot of problems that'll make the experience a little more shallow than the original Cars game, but I did enjoy replaying it here. Most of its problems were fixed anyways in 2009's Cars Race-O-Rama. I think Race-O-Rama is easily the best Cars game, bias aside. It did introduce its own problems though. But before I get into anything major, I just had to get those thoughts out of the way because I don't need you guys thinking I'm just tearing these games' assholes wide open like a can and that I hate them. It's not true. Alright, the fun part. The story. The stories of these games take place, well, after the first game, duh, which basically leads the tie-in series into its own little Cars timeline, because, I mean, they don't exactly reference monster trucks and Cars 2 or anything, do they? Why does the Cars franchise have multiple fucking timelines? Saying that out loud makes me cringe, but that's the world we're living in. Anyways, Cars Mater National takes place sometime after the first game, with Lightning and Mater starting, well, an international championship, inviting ladies and gentle cars from all over the world to compete with Lightning to see who's the best racer in the world. It's basically the plot of Cars 2 before Cars 2 even came out. But that's not all though. Cars Mater National is easily the most cartoonish out of all of the Cars stories in my opinion. Well, excluding Cars on the Road. And that's mostly because things here just kinda happen, and for no reason. Like, Lightning wants to become a monster truck again, you know, for marketing purposes. And Mater also wants to be one too this time. So now we have a crazed lunatic of a monster tow truck, driving around and killing thousands. Not only that, Lightning isn't voiced by Owen Wilson anymore. He's voiced by a guy that sounds almost exactly like him.
I am Speed.
Okay, well, that doesn't ruin anything then. This game has the same goal as the first Cars game, just needing to clear any missions of your choosing to get enough of these little flag thingies in order to compete in the stadium races, which there are 4 of, and they are way better than those boring ass Piston Cup races. Like, god damn, those made me want to go. So this is already like way better. Stadium races are just the races with the people that you've met so far in the story on Lightning McQueen's race stadium. That's a new thing that has been getting built in between games. This game is still only like 4 hours long though. The hell is up with these games trying to be as short as possible? Still, the best part of this game's story is Lizzie giving you a nice smack on the ass with every set of races you complete. That's hot, right?
No.
Nah, she just puts stickers on your back in order to symbolize your achievements. That includes stadium races, rust bucket races, since hey, that's a big thing now. Monster truck races, wait, is that solely for Monsters Inc? And more! I didn't 100% the game because the mini games are pretty bad to be honest. But other than that, Cars International tries to be a little more ambitious than its predecessor in terms of what's going on here. Now compare that to Cars Race-O-Rama and we've got this. Cars Race-O-Rama! Its story takes place sometime after International, with Lightning Stadium being an established racetrack. Aw, look at him coming full circle. It's the start of the new Race-O-Rama series, and people from Doc Hudson's new Racing Academy and Chick Hicks's new Racing Academy square off in a bunch of, well, racing. Some even outside of Radiator Springs itself, with Chick serving as an antagonist in this game once more. Ooh, tension. Too bad Chick is still a little bitch. He's not even a good character in this game either. He controls like fucking dog water. And that's probably the reason why he hired these ops this time, in order to make Lightning quake in his boots and lose. Unfathomable for the fastest real racing car of all time. He never loses. Not even his virginity.
Boy ain't right.
This game has the exact same mission structure as the one before it, except this time there is required missions, indicated by gold stars, and you play those in order to progress through the game. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, considering there's some fucking god-awful missions that are gold missions. I did mention before that there are races outside of Radiator Springs. Wow, no way! Game variety! Race-O-Rama takes our boy Lightning to new locations to defeat Chick Hicks's cronies, with each new area sporting a new getup for Lightning to wear. All of these new versions of Lightning even have their own stats, which is pretty cool, with the Giga Chad McQueen you unlock at the end being super OP, for reasons I'll explain later. So, the main gameplay loop here is completing missions in Radiator Springs in order to get access to new towns and defeating the bosses there. Rinse and repeat until the final Chick Hicks race. If you guys couldn't tell already, these two games are just a lot better than the first game. To an extent, anyway. I don't think anything can beat the atmosphere and personality of the original Cars game. But these two other games are very impressive in their own ways. Man, International, you fucking pissed me off, though. The gameplay. Both of these games control similarly to the first Cars game, but there's some noticeable differences that I'd love to point out here. Some good and some bad, and some awful that I want to die thinking about. So first and foremost, we're talking about a goddamn racing game. It's really not that complicated, fellas. In the Cars games, you drive, power slide, and jump your way to victory, as these two games have far superior track design compared to the first game. International Championship takes place in Radiator Springs as well, but that doesn't stop the game from saying fuck it and creating new areas that didn't exist before in order to build new and unique, interesting tracks that are just way better in my opinion. It controls almost identically to Cars 1 as well, which is a good thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what they say. And hey, look, you start out with boost at the very beginning of the game, unlocking more of the gauge through stadium races. Lightning, how are you getting them? How are you getting these things? It really goes to show how the core racing gameplay of International is a step up from its predecessor, which makes me wonder why the side content is so ass. I'll dive into it more in the next chapter of the video, but International's non-race missions are so goddamn lame, dude. Especially the monster truck waypoint races. Aren't the monster trucks like a big selling point of the game? You can use Monster McQueen in the hub world. Why they make them control like underdog shit? Monster McQueen really didn't control that bad before, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The point-based system returns again for both games, and it works the exact same as the first game. Backwards driving is actually useful this time though, because if you do something while driving backwards, for example a big jump, it's multiplied. That's a good excuse to do it. Doesn't stop backwards driving from being unoptimal. Moving along to the sequel of a sequel. Cars Race-O-Rama isn't too different or anything, you know? Totally doesn't add fucking snaking into the game. Yep, that's right. This game, you gain boost back for power sliding, allowing you to essentially Mario Kart DS your way to victory, with each character recovering and consuming boost at different rates, which brings me back to the aforementioned Giga Chad Lightning McQueen, because he recovers boost so quickly and barely even loses it. Am I the first person to also point out he kind of looks like the Crimson Chin? Needless to say, if you boost while power sliding, you can essentially do it forever, basically making losing with this character fucking impossible. This game encourages this kind of behavior too, because power sliding in Race-O-Rama is more unique than it's ever been. Not only is there a little gauge explaining your angle, but they also encourage you to find that sweet spot so you can continue to boost as long as possible. It's much faster and skill-based than you could ever possibly imagine, offering even more track variety than what Mater National offers. I say skill-based when shit like this happens constantly in both games. Yep, this is what I like to call getting Race-O-Rama'd. Because why this bullshit happens in both games, it's way more frequent in that one because of how much faster it is. The physics are just a little goofy, if you will. And I point this out because me getting my ass spun around has costed races on occasion, and well, it pissed me off. I don't know if I'll find it when I go through the footage, but there was literally a part where I just phased through the ground. This is exactly why I hate the Wii. In hindsight, it's really not that big of a deal though. Skill issue. Actually, speaking of skill issue, these two sequels are way more difficult than the first game, and I love to see it! Gone are the days of being 20 seconds ahead! Well, mostly anyway. I played on the hardest difficulty for each game, and I gotta say it was a nice change of pace. I'm just so good at video games though that no matter what, I never lose. What about all the side content that each of the games have to offer? There's many different kinds of missions after all. Well,
what the hell?
The content! These two games have even more side content, so I just have to dedicate an entire part just for that mumbo jumbo. In fact, this might actually be the longest part of the video. Fuck you! There's a very big feature that I've just not talked about yet though, even though I probably already showed footage for it because I'm an asshole. Lightning McQueen customization, baby! In Cars Mater National, you can find paint cans and tire sets in order to unlock those cosmetics for him, in which he can use in the hub worlds. It's very primitive in this game, so I didn't bother doing it a whole lot. Still, it's a cute feature, and I really hope it gets more fleshed out in Race-O-Rama. It got more fleshed out in Race-O-Rama. In this game, you can customize Lightning's entire asshole if you wanted to. Hell, it's even a major selling point. Not the asshole part, the customization part. From his hood all the way to his spoiler, it's really damn cool. You unlock parts to use by collecting all 3 orange stars within the gold missions. I personally like rockin' default appearances in my games because, you know, I'm just a vanilla basic bitch. Kid Me went really wild with this shit, so I decided to do it once again for the video. But you can't customize Monster McQueen. That's a missed opportunity right there. You can only get paint jobs. Still, customizing Monster McQueen? That would have made me creep.
Balls. Why are you the way that you are, honestly?
Oh yeah, the monster trucking. I talked about it before in Mater National, but the monster trucks control like trash in that game. Race-O-Rama brought them back, and they actually control good in that one. But the new problem here, and I really didn't want to bring it up, Guido Kart. I fucking hate Guido Kart! The little characters control even fucking worse, and they don't even gain boost of drifting. You have to get these items that barely even do shit. Like, what is this trying to be? It ain't Mario Kart! Why is there 9? Why is there 9 of these things? Make more monster truck races. People actually like those. Not Mater National. You blue Italian bastard, you ruined my life. I will say, at least Guido Kart is probably the only bad side content that Race-O-Rama has, really. I mean, it could have been so much worse. It could have been Mater National's minigames. Those are fucking garbanzo beans, man. Like, why is there a rhythm game here? Why is Mike and Sully even existing? Why do I have to fuel tanks to continue driving? What am I, a car? Wait, don't answer that last question. Why are there relay races? Wait, that's actually a good one. Being able to play as multiple characters in a race is nice. Okay, but still, the hidden talent should have stayed hidden. The monster truck races in this game are like the worst, though. Oh my god, I can't get over that. Ugh, the footage speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. Even the AI can't deal with this shit. At least its successor was able to pick back up with some absolute bangers, like the Cars Tunes minigames. There's only 3 of them, but like, they're the best out of the entire trilogy. And I don't even remember liking Mater's Tall Tales that much as a kid, but the Ghostlight one was pretty funny. My personal favorite out of these 3 is Tokyo Mater because I'm boring and just like boosting around at the speed of sound. Other honorable mentions that I'd like to, well, mention. Geez, who wrote the script? Wait a second. the autocross missions, and those weird photograph missions that are kind of cute, but I'll take what I can get. These games share quite a bit of minigames from the first Cars, and they're usually worse 9 times out of 10. I do and will always appreciate these games for going above and beyond as trying to do more than just racing, however. Adds a lot more playtime and value if you're really interested. Well, most of the time, sometimes that shit's required. The last thing I'd like to get into is the character rosters. They add a lot of original characters to replace the ones from the movie, which a lot of people would see as tragic. I don't, though. They give these games their own identities. These sequels are trying to be different and unique after all. Besides, I like the Japanese car, even if he only speaks Japanese. Why did they do this? There isn't even any subtitles, so I can't understand what he's saying. Thanks, Mater. You're a good translator, though. I actually think Race-O-Rama has a weaker roster of the two. There's a lot of grunt characters that are playable that I don't give a shit about, like the Academy students and these white robot cars that just kind of show up near the halfway point of the game. They're called Vins, and they sound like Buzz Lightyear. And we can't forget about Bubba either. Still, I refuse to go back on my statement. These games' rosters are not the problem. It's you. Because, I mean, come on, there's nothing wrong with being a little different. Hell, these two games were made by completely different development studios. These games build off the first game in order to add more to the Cars universe, offering new gameplay features, whether they be good, bad, and completely unbearable. I still respect these games nonetheless, because in one way or another, they were a part of my childhood, and I will always hold special places in my heart for these things. If I were to rank the trilogy, I'd put Mater National at the bottom, with the first game being in the middle, and Race-O-Rama being the best one. I mean, look at Mater National's problems. They're a little more, well, problematic to the overall experience. The OST is mostly shared with the first game anyway, while Race-O-Rama's is fully original. That game might as well be Cars 1.5. I still like it, so don't beat me up or anything. Jeez, I say one thing and people think I am hating. But like in my intro, there is a lot of Cars games out there, and any excuse for me to talk about Montgomery McQueen is a welcome one. So if people requested, I could always make even more videos on the other Cars games. All of those other tie-in games are based off of different Cars media respectively though, while these three originate from the first movie, giving me the perfect opportunity to make a video like this as they're all connected. If you made it to this far of the video, I strongly encourage you to hit like and maybe even subscribe if you really like me, as it severely helps me out. I'd love to make more videos like this after all. Take care everyone, and I love you all. Wait a second! One more thing. Screw you, Guido. Go back to fucking Italy.
Got him. We fucking got him.
Lego Lightning McQueen is still the best form of lightning. I'm sorry, Giga Chad and Monster. You're just not cool enough.